Last one of the night. So, I'm Devin. This is Devin Talks Tabletop. So now you know me, now you know what this is. And this particular video of this particular series is The Crew Mission Deep Sea. And this is an open that video because it's not opened. So I need to open that. And it is an unboxing video. I just wanted to name it something else. I have a hyper intense crazy knife because I can't find my other ones that are more subtle. And so I'm going to open it with this jagged death machine. I have already talked about Eclipse tonight, which is sitting right there. And I've opened Maquis tonight, which is a solo game I'm excited to play. And I bought all of these at my local game store because they had a sale going on and I had some store credit. So I bought the two small stuff with my store credit, and I bought the big thing using the sale price. If you have not heard of The Crew, this is the second game of it to come out. Specifically, I use that word too much. Vocabulary reminder timestamp. Also, if you're curious about that, that's just something I do anytime I drink, is I say timestamp. So, to give you context, timestamp. This is the second iteration or edition or version of the game, the sequel, you might say. The Crew is a cooperative trick-taking game. So, trick-taking, synonymous with games like Spades or Hearts, is a very common or familiar mechanic to people who maybe aren't consistently, I don't know, there we go. I was having way more trouble with that cardboard slot than I needed to. So it's pretty familiar to people outside of the hobby. And I say that in the context of people who don't frequently consider themselves individuals who play board games. They might play board games every now and then, but they aren't somebody who plays them frequently and is maybe familiar with all of the concepts that are frequently brought up across all of the different genres. And so I think that's one reason why I like The Crew so much, is because I have an intense fondness for spades. I think it's very hard to play spades because you need exactly 4 people. You also kind of want 4 people who aren't going to get upset at each other when them and their partners are unable to coordinate without table talking, because you want to all... Oh, I could have just done that. Didn't even need the knife. So I think if you have the right people, a game like that is very accessible, and it can be just a lot of fun without necessarily seeming overly cumbersome in terms of rules. And so that's what I think. That doesn't really sit well. I guess I'm going to have to keep it undone. Interesting. Yeah, that's good. That's just going to bother me. I'm just going to now I'm going to keep all of that in one pouch, and I'm going to keep the cards over here. Yeah, but now that's not enough space. This is chaos. This is what this is. This is chaos. The world is just going down right now. I'm going to put those over there. That's what I'm going to do. I'll put these over here. I'm going to try to slot those into 2. It's not even a video anymore at this point. This is just me getting annoyed and trying to fix it. That's what you guys signed up for. Is the small amount of components that are in here are consternating me. Alrighty. To give you background context of The Crew. Cooperative trick-taking, which means instead of their teams working against each other, everybody's working together, which you would think would make this game easier. But no, it's quite difficult once you get into the later missions, because there are a lot of mechanical additions or restrictions that Thomas Singh puts in place over the course of your 50 missions. You have your rules which tell you how to play, but the thing you care about more is the logbook. I actually appreciate in the original Crew, which is a game I own and I play and I've enjoyed physically. I also play it online on Board Game Arena. They actually give you the rule book and then they give you the logbook on the back. So when you flip through it, you then actually flip it upside down to then read the logbook. I don't love that. I don't love reading the same pamphlet from two different directions. So I kind of like that in this version, they've separated it out for you. But the original game had 50 missions. I've only made it through around 20. I haven't got the game past that point because when you play it with new people for the first time, you kind of tend to start over at, the first mission so that they can see the most basic iteration of the game. And then slowly you layer in all of the components that make it interesting. But because you don't play for hours when you play the Crew, typically, then if you don't play with the same group, you will then revert back to the same section. So I haven't really made it past mission 20, which is maybe a point at which you would go, well, why did you buy this one? Great question. I wanted to get my key, and this also fit within the amount of store credit I had. And you can't apply store credit to the sale, and so it wasn't going to help me to apply store credit to the big box to buy clips. So I was like, I'll get this because I like the Crew. And I've heard numerous people say that Mission Deep Sea does some interesting things that make the Crew more engaging or different in a, gameplay sense. So I'm interested to see what ways this changes. But for myself, I really like the way that it forces you to work together. And it's already difficult. Like in Spades, it's already somewhat difficult to figure out what you and to get a rhythm between you and your teammate. So it's already hard with just two people. But then if you add in like 3 or 4 or 5 people and you say, okay, don't worry about working against each other. Simply try to work together. It's almost more difficult. It's more difficult for humans to work together than to work against each other. It's more natural for us to engage in conflict. But no, when you have to work together and you have to work together without communicating effectively, you only get typically one way to communicate, which is you reveal whether a card is the highest, the lowest, or the only card of that suit because it's colored suits, low to high numbers. And that's those core conceits of what cards there are and how they function from low to high in the colors. That's the only real information you have other than that signaling of, oh, this is the highest blue I have. This is the lowest pink I have. 8 is the only card in yellow that I have. That single signal that you get once per turn, if you're allowed to, because sometimes the missions don't let you, depending on the parameters of the mission. That cooperative element heightens the tension and makes what is typically a frustrating or tense game, not frustrating, but emotionally invested game for just pairs of people when you're playing spades or hearts or something like that. And it ratchets it up and makes it even more engaging. And so I just wanted to see what this one is going to do differently. Only a surprisingly small percentage of our planet's oceans have ever been explored. Now you have the opportunity to change that. It's time for you and your crew to jump into uncharted waters. The financial backers of your expedition seem to know what awaits you down there, but they're not exactly talking about it. So are you ready to dive in deep and get to the bottom of it all? The Crew Mission Deep Sea is the standalone successor to the Crew, winner of the Kinderspiel des Jahres 2020, which is just, I think the Kinderspiel is the strategy one, I think. So I think that's the German strategy award. 96 diverse task cards present you with a variety of challenges and make for a multifaceted and unique game experience. Good communication is essential here, but underwater, this can be harder than you might think. So the reason why the concept of the missions and the restrictions all made sense is because in the first game you were in outer space. So a lot of stuff can go wrong in outer space, and that makes sense. So things don't go well for you, and you have to adjust to it in those missions in the original. And the same thing goes for this. You're deep underwater. You're in bad doo-doo if things go wrong. So it makes perfect sense once again that they can make restrictions that thematically make sense because you're underwater and maybe your oxygen's compromised, maybe your submarine develops a crack under the pressure, and it's going to equalize once the water rushes in and kills you. There's a lot of different things that I'm assuming could thematically explain what's going on here. Ugh. Crew, Mission Deep Sea. That's pretty much it. If you have made it this far, here's what I have planned. So this is 2 unboxings. This is a nice bits. So it's a nice bits. It's a nice bits and 2 open nets. I need to do some more games I got. I need to do some more reviews or first impressions, but specifically 2 videos in mind. 2 videos I have in mind. Number 1, another things to buy, which I felt like got a good reception, got a good amount of views, and people were interested in it. I'm gonna try to tweak the mechanics of how I do that in terms of giving you guys some screenshots, maybe some inset footage if I can figure out a sensible way to record that and then layer it with my footage in a way that is easy to do, because currently everything I do is on the phone. I do some stuff on my computer once I get videos uploaded, but I do pretty much all the editing and all the stuff on my phone. And so if there's a way in which I can do that sensibly, I'll do that. Otherwise, I might try to insert some photos of the games that I talk about. But I do like the idea of talking about campaigns. So I'm going to try to do a things I buy. And then the second thing I'm going to try to do is a channel update. So it's been a month or so. I've been trying to do about 1 video a day. I think I missed today, which is probably yesterday, which is Friday. I think Friday I didn't have an upload. And that was just because I tried to film yesterday. I was kind of exhausted, kind of sleep deprived from our newborn, and also life. But for the most part, I've been trying to do 1 video a day. Sometimes the shorts that I do, sometimes those help because I'm able to schedule something. If I'm filming or doing other work, I can quickly do a short, and it at least gets me in the habit of having a video done. So I'm able to do that. But yeah, for sure, I'm going to try and do a channel update. I kind of want to talk to all of you guys who comment on my videos, and I want to share my appreciation for that and kind of give you all a heads up and a shout out and like engage with you. And I also want to just kind of look over the channel and see things and try to talk out my like ways in which stuff has improved and maybe signal things that need further improvement and kind of note those down, and then also just continue on to the next step. So, this is something that I'm interested in doing. I'm enjoying what I'm doing right now. I think doing it on my phone has made it easier for me because I think I was a little intimidated or stressed out when I was trying to do a bigger set. So for right now, until I get a permanent studio set up to where I'm not having to tear something down because kids all the time, I think this has been the most effective thing. And currently my main priority is still try to get 1 video out per day. I'm going to try to grow the things I can as I'm doing it. I'm going to try to get the audio in tip-top shape whenever I can. I'm going to try to get the lighting better when I can. It's too dark in here. We're supposed to be painting and getting this a lighter color on the walls, which will help substantially. But once again, that shouldn't ultimately matter because when Daniel and I get done with the studio space, I should have a permanent setup. So that's not that big of a deal. But everything is trying to trend towards growth. And so if you have any ideas for that, feel free to shout them out. But I think the channel update will be a exciting or interesting way for me to reflect on stuff and then to share with you just my thoughts as I continue this journey. So that was a little bit of a thumbnail. That was a little bit of a update on the channel, update idea, and other stuff that's going on. But at the end of the day, the crew, Mission Deep Sea, trick-taking game. I'm at pretty close to the end of my drink, which means that was a well-timed for the 3 different videos that we're trying to film. I'll try to get back to a more normal, less aggressive look. But I don't know. I'm not super sentimental. I could easily toss this to Goodwill tomorrow. But it is kind of cool. It's like, the first thing I ever got out of a rent house. So, peace.